Chipmaker Qualcomm has been having quite the field day all year with the release of the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, and what's even better is that ROG got their beautiful hands on it for the ROG Phone 9 Pro. And as we head into 2025, there's no denying that this phone is very much the definition of mobile gaming to beat. It's got the performance, the thermal management, the looks, the triggers, just about everything you need to be the most mysterious character at your local coffee shop, having everyone thinking, damn, you can play games with the back of the phone? It's ridiculously cool, and if you want to see our gaming test with Perf Dog on this phone, it's like up here, so hit that. So while ROG was cooking with the 9 Pro, RedMagic wasn't simply lying in wait as they upgraded their RedMagic 9 in their series with the RedMagic 9S Pro, another gaming phone contender. This is the Snapdragon 8 leading version processor that's not to be confused with the Snapdragon 8 chip, as this is basically an overclocked Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. With RedMagic's signature fan and phone and cooling and triggers and RGB, you are also going to be the cool mysterious character at your local coffee shop, having everyone thinking, damn, that's a fan? If you want to see our gaming test for the RedMagic 9S Pro, it's up here too. Basic stuff we need to get out of the way. The Snapdragon 8 Elite on the ROG Phone 9 Pro does not have efficiency cores like its predecessor, the leading, or even like the 8 Gen 3, but does have two 4.32 GHz prime cores and six 3.53 GHz performance cores. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 leading version on the RedMagic 9S Pro is an overclocked variant of the standard SoC. It has the Cortex X4 clocked at 3.4 GHz and the Adreno 750 GPU at 1 GHz. In comparison, the standard chipset's Cortex X4 core is clocked at 3.3 GHz while the GPU is set at 900 MHz. So, those 6 performance cores in the Elite are more powerful than those found in the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset, leading or not. So which of the two is better is exactly what we're here to find out, and I will be getting this out of the way. Yes, the ROG is definitely more expensive than the RedMagic. That's it, end the video. Buy the RedMagic. We're going to see how close the build quality of the 9S Pro can get to the ROG Phone 9 Pro, and to be fair, the ROG Phone 9 Pro is the cooler looking phone solely because of the anime display at the back. By the way, there's this thing called ROG Together where you can unlock the animations for Anime Vision, so keep a lookout for another owner, because yeah, haven't found anyone for that yet. Build quality wise, they're both very durable, and ROG, please bring back the display from the 7 Ultimate, it was so good. Material wise, we are in a clear versus matte situation, or crystallized nano texture in the case of ROG, and this comes down to personal preference on how they look, but in terms of feeling, they're both equally slippery in hand, and honestly the ROG Phone 9 Pro is actually a lot slippery than the RedMagic over here. And the 9S Pro is quite the smudge magnet, so getting a cover for either phone is a no-brainer. Speaking of covers, at the time of shooting this video, there aren't a lot of third-party options with an amazing reputation for RedMagic as compared to ROG's selection right out the gate. The official ones for the ROG Phone 9 Pro already look and feel good, and you have like 4 to choose from. 2 are in the ROG Phone 9 Pro edition, and I feel they should have just called it the Ultimate Edition or something, just so there's a larger difference between the standard and edition packages. I mean, Most RedMagic cases are mostly from unknown brands, but because they're unknown, they're relatively cheaper and work just fine. The camera module on the ROG Phone 9 Pro does protrude from the body a little bit compared to the RedMagic's flat profile. You can argue it's a nice little ledge, for your middle finger when you're gaming right here. But for peeps who don't like the change in elevation, get a case. One other thing before we move on is that the front-facing camera on the RedMagic is hidden under the screen, so there's no annoying notch or break in your display that's present in most phones. However, that camera isn't great. The ROG's front-facing camera is slightly better, but whatever, the gaming phones. The real question for gamers is, which of the triggers are better? The ROG 9S Pro has 520Hz shoulder triggers, while the ROG has air triggers, which I have no idea how many hertz this is, but it game good. They both have haptic feedback and are very responsive. In terms of looks, the ROG has their logos etched in to mark out the areas, while the RedMagic is just a very slight depression and relatively smoother surface that feels kind of frosted, I'd say, so you can actually tell where the triggers are, which is nice because, it helps with knowing where to press and activate the triggers as compared to the etched in logo that I can barely feel. But I also haven't had any issues with misfiring or being unable to hit the triggers on the ROG Phone 9 Pro, but I think it's nice to have that smooth texture in a slightly wider designated area so you know where your fingers are. Also, the RedMagic 9S Pro has a dedicated game space slider right here that brings you straight to the gaming. Performance-wise, the ROG Phone 9 Pro that we have is running the Snapdragon 8 Elite mobile platform for its chip, and Adreno 830 for its GPU, 24 gigs of RAM, 1 TB of storage, and everything plays out on a 6.78-inch LTPO Samsung E6 flexible AMOLED display, up to 185Hz with Game Genie, and it has a 5800 mAh battery. The RedMagic 9S Pro that we have is running the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 leading version, working in tandem with the RedMagic's dedicated gaming chip, the Red Core 2 Pro for its processor, an Adreno 751GHz for its GPU, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage, and everything plays out on a 6.8-inch BOE Q9 Plus 120Hz Full HD Plus display, and it has a 6500 mAh battery. I'll touch on the cameras a little bit more later on, but all in all, both phones are definitely great to hold. However, you would game even better with the comfort of a Secretlab chair. Here at Geek Culture, Secretlab is our everyday ergonomic buddy. Whether we're working, playing, or taking a quick nap, we feel less aches and more refreshed, even after sitting for long hours. Secretlab provides ergonomic support literally from head to toe, from dynamic lumbar support to their proprietary medium foam cushioning, and even premium footrests that promote circulation. That's good for you. For more information, check out secretlab.co. Off the bat, the RedMagic 9S Pro has a larger battery and display, like by a slight bit, but of course the ROG Phone 9 Pro has all the upgrades. But I think the performance of both phones will surprise you. We got X mode on the ROG versus Rise mode on the RedMagic. We will also be running tests on the default modes with Geekbench and 3D Mark. But before that, besides the obvious difference in the naming convention and perceived performance on paper, where ROG has the advantage, RedMagic has a separate chip, namely the Red Core 2 Pro, that works to alleviate certain processes of the Snapdragon 8 leading version and enhances things like haptics and lighting on the phone. So we will see how close this extra chip brings us to the performance of the ROG Phone 9 Pro. Also, you can adjust the settings of the Adreno GPU in the RedMagic game space, which is pretty cool, and forgive me ROG if I'm missing something out, but I can't find something similar in Armoury Crate other than what is in the app. So testing time, we have stuff from Wildlife Extreme Stress Test, and Geekbench 6. For Wildlife Extreme on both phones' highest modes, X mode for ROG scored 5633 and Rise mode for RedMagic with the Adreno GPU set to the highest quality scored 5525. For Wildlife Extreme on both phones' default modes, Dynamic mode for ROG scored 5639 and Balance mode for RedMagic with the Adreno GPU set to standard quality scored 4371. For Wildlife Extreme Stress Test on both phones' default modes, Dynamic mode for ROG's best loop score was 4482, its lowest was 3026 and had a stability of 67.5%. And Balance mode for RedMagic with the Adreno GPU set to standard quality had a best loop score of 4372, its lowest was 3644 and had a stability of 83.4%. For Wildlife Extreme Stress Test on both phones' highest modes, Rise mode for RedMagic with the Adreno GPU set to the highest quality was 5472, its lowest was 4222 and had a stability of 77.2%. X mode for ROG's best loop score of 5637, its lowest was 5024 and had a stability of 89.1%. Moving on to Geekbench 6, Dynamic mode for the ROG has a single core score of 2002 and a multi-core score of 7420. Balance mode for RedMagic with the Adreno GPU set to standard quality has a single core score of 1955 and a multi-core score of 6318. X mode for the ROG has a single core score of 3081 and a multi-core score of 9763. Rise mode for the RedMagic with the Adreno GPU set to the highest quality has a single core score of 2234 and a multi-core score of 7056. I took the temperature on the last 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme test on the 14th loop for both phones, and there was a 10 to 11 degree difference between the ROG Phone 9 Pro and the RedMagic 9S Pro. So that's the trade-off, I believe, since it feels that the RedMagic is a bit more stable than the ROG, even though the ROG is putting out 3 to 5 more frames. However, the test looked choppy on the ROG than on the RedMagic, and I would like to think that the Red Core 2 Pro has a lot to do with that. What I can glean off the results is that yes, the RedMagic 9S Pro is a lot more stable than the ROG Phone 9 Pro. However, the trade-offs are higher temperatures and lesser frames for more stability. In my humble opinion, having slightly more frames but without the stability to boot will not help in crucial moments, but playing games on the ROG Phone 9 Pro in the time I've had it, I haven't had a single instance where I was dropping frames or experiencing choppy gameplay or stability yet. It's still relatively new at the time of recording and is 4 months younger than the 9S Pro. However, within the 4 months, this RedMagic was my daily driver and it is a truly solid phone for gaming and your day-to-day. Both phones have amazing efficiency with battery life and the displays are beautiful. Whether or not you can tell the difference between 120Hz to 185Hz when things are getting uber chaotic is beyond me, since most games by default support either 60 to 120Hz, and that's where I'll say say if they game good, they game good. I can last a whole commute to the office and get 2 full PUBG games on smooth graphics at high FPS rates with both phones staying cool, with the ROG staying even cooler of course. And once I hit the office, I'll start charging the phones again till I hit home for another 2 full rounds. And just remember, like a full game of PUBG is like 30 to 45 minutes. So we're talking about an hour and a half. If you want to cool the phones off, the ROG Phone 9 Pro Edition has the Aero Active Cooler X Pro included in the box, and RedMagic has the VC Cooler 5 Pro that can be bought online that can be clipped on, so that solves most heat problems. Advantage to the ROG Phone 9 Pro, you can hook up the Aero Active Cooler to the side USB-C port, like right here, just like that. And there are triggers at the back that will replace the triggers over here, while the VC Cooler 5 Pro still has to be jacked in like this and clamped on, but it won't get in the way of the triggers. The only thing that you need to take note of is that because of how the USB-C port is positioned at the bottom, you will need to take note that, you know, if you want to play with controls like the Kishi over here, or the backbone is that, you know, you're not exactly going to get the best placement of the phone within all these controllers. Let me just show you real quick. And there's a lot of space at the bottom down here. The phone isn't exactly set right, even though it seems tight. My only fear is that I'll damage the USB-C port and the phone at the same time if I'm putting too much force with this controller, or, you know, just any controller. So just keep that in mind if you like your mobile gaming with these controllers. Before I get into my final thoughts, let's talk about the cameras and the images they produce. There's even more detail with the images on the RedMagic, and somehow the colors are more accurate. So the RedMagic gets the point for the rear camera, and let's not talk about its front camera. It is abysmal compared to the ROG. So if you want selfies, the ROG is your go-to. Let's see, what else am I missing? Oh yeah, right, AI features on the ROG phone. We are here for performance, and it's nice to have these features, but I feel the effort should have been directed towards studying what RedMagic was creating with the Red Core 2 Pro chip and implement that instead, because it's truly a waste that this ROG phone has such great numbers and thermal management capabilities but lacks the stability to match up to a slightly older phone. These AI features are nice to have, but would you even use them consciously? I don't know. Final thoughts. I am surprised with the results. I did not expect the RedMagic 9S Pro to give the ROG Phone 9 Pro a run for its money because it was so much closer than I expected. On the daily, for the games I play in duration, they're neck and neck. Price point is a major factor in this thing, of course, but if we were to put that aside completely and talk practicality, the RedMagic edges out on top because of its larger battery capacity, its centralized USB-C port, and the Red Core 2 Pro chip. Larger battery capacity is a no-brainer. I can afford to forget to charge it overnight and still have enough to game on the way to the office. The centralized USB-C is vital for me, at least, because not having it at the side doesn't limit you from a great many things like controllers designed with a central USB-C port in mind. And though the whole point of it is to charge and play games without obstructing your hands from getting a slightly better grip, I would really just want the opportunity to try controllers without risking the phone slipping or having unnecessary forces clamp onto parts that aren't optimally positioned because of said USB-C placement to prevent any sort of damage to the phone. Lastly, the Red Core 2 Pro chip. I would love to believe this is what improves the stability of the device, and the numbers do not lie. At least from the benchmarking stuff that we've done, it's not about who has the most frames, but who can generate a decent amount of frames with the stability to match, and that is exactly what RedMagic brings to the table. Raw power obviously goes to the ROG Phone 9 Pro, but refined power with the right tools is what counts for me, at least. If you want a proper showdown, I can't wait to put the ROG Phone 9 Pro head-to-head with the RedMagic 10 that also has the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, and hopefully it has the Red Core 2 Pro chip as well. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Was there anything I missed out? Leave them in the comment section below, and which of the 2 phones would you rather use as a daily driver? If you have any questions about them, I'll do my best to clarify them in the comment section below. And if you like this video, maybe follow us on all of our socials right here. We post up news and content daily, and maybe leave an actual like and subscribe to us. It goes a long way in keeping the lights on here. This has been Zin, and if you want to see more stuff, check this out.